Oh, okay. I'm going to start again. Welcome. I am Barbara Rohr, a longtime member of this church, Heritage Universalist Unitarian Church, and I will be your worship associate this morning. Again, welcome to all of you who are here, and I extend a particular welcome to those who are here via Zoom or watching us someday in the future. I also extend a particularly warm welcome to Reverend Chip Roush, who is our guest minister this morning. Reverend Chip comes to us from First Unitarian Church of South Bend in Indiana, where he has served as minister since 2013. Our minister, Reverend Bill Gupton, is on winter break. If you're here for the first time, I extend a particularly warm welcome. And if you haven't signed our guest book, I ask you to do so after the service. It's just to the right if you leave the sanctuary. And if you're joining us via Zoom, you will find a virtual guest book in chat. You'll find a link there. If you're here in person, please join us for refreshments and fellowship immediately following the service in the Great Hall. Again, that's to the right as you leave the sanctuary. Jamie Castle, Jamie, you want to raise your hand, is our official board greeter this morning. Hopefully you already met her as you came into the building. She will be available after the service to answer any questions you may have about our church. We are a vibrant community with many opportunities to engage with one another outside of Sunday mornings. You can read about these opportunities or read about some of them on the back of your order of service, or go to our website, huuc.net, where you can learn even more. And finally, I ask that you put your cell phone in airplane mode or turn it off if you haven't done so for the duration of this service. Now, Reverend Chip will lead us in the call to worship.
Thank you, Barbara. Good morning, all. 100 years ago, when I was a physics student, I learned that the first derivative of position is speed. And then the rate of change of speed is acceleration. The rate of change of acceleration is jerk, which you can remember by the person in the car in the front seat who is or is not jerking you around, depending on how smoothly they accelerate the car. Time passes more and more rapidly, it seems, which is why I say that Father Time is a jerk sometimes. All of which is just showing off because really there only is ever one moment. It is this moment in which we are present right now. As we turn from 2023 to 2024, may we be aware that there is this moment, and may we inhabit this moment as fully as possible with our hearts and minds in tune with each other. We light this chalice as a symbol of the flame inside us, lighting our way into the new year, into the next incarnation of this moment.
Congregation participation here. It's going to be around. Hello. Oh. Take two. Congregation participation here. We're going to start with a round. This will be group 1. Good. This will be group 2. Oh, Gathered Here is our song, number 389. Look at that. And Sherry will play just a short intro. We'll sing it all together once, just kind of ease in. And then group 1 will start. We'll do the round twice, and that'll be our song. And you can stand up, too, if you are so moved. Here we go. Gathered here in the
Now we ask that you stand once again. I should have said that before, but please join us in our covenant. Love is the spirit of this church. The quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and freedom, to serve humankind in fellowship, to the end that all souls shall grow into harmony with the divine. Thus do we covenant with each other and with God.
I want to thank Reverend Gupton for inviting me to preach to you all this morning, and I apologize for not wearing a suit. I usually do. I don't believe that makes anyone better or smarter, but it does indicate that I'm taking things seriously. I am taking it seriously. I'm just also very forgetful these days. And so, at the congregation I serve in South Bend, we have a ball with a bunch of feelings on it, and we pass it around to the children of the congregation, and they catch the ball and they name one of the emotions that they're feeling or have seen expressed. And I think that's very powerful and useful for us. Use your words, sometimes we are told by our parents or partners. It's helpful for ourselves to know what it is, to recognize, oh, that's what's going on. I'm angry. Oh, I'm sad. Of course I'm having this other feeling. And by using our words, it helps other people know what's going on, and maybe they can help us get our needs met. Whereas, can be satisfying. It doesn't really get our needs met. If we go, I'm unhappy and this is why, then we can get through things and maybe have our needs met in a more productive way. And that's what I wanted to say to our children and youth this morning. Barbara Rohr.
Today's reading comes from the Australian poet Anna Jacobsen. It's titled The Calling. Lost her balance, chin bloodied. She's a wild-eyed whatever. If we invite, will she come in from the cold? We must oil the wood table, polish silver. It's hard, but we won't rest and we won't get tired. Dreamers do far more than's required. Open windows to let sunshine sing off a faceted crystal. Recreate rainbows. Wear out door hinges welcoming. Loose the locks. Inside small houses, infinite space. Inside big houses hold sacred, a place for each small self. In our prisons, it's possible liberty dwells. If we invite her, she will be both guest and host, singing a generous grace, for she is justice. Set the table, ring the bell. It's time for the calling. We have places laid here, all of us, all. That is The Calling by Anna Jackson. Candles of Community is a cherished tradition in many Unitarian, I was going to say universities, in many, maybe it should be, in many Unitarian Universalist congregations, embodying the spirit of shared joys, sorrows, and milestones within the community. Let us now prepare to enter this sacred ritual, a moment that allows us to connect deeply with one another's hearts and lives. Each flame lit represents a story, a moment in someone's life that they wish to share with all of us. Some candles lit today are lit with the light of joy, celebrations, achievements, moments of happiness that have graced our lives. These lights remind us of the beauty and love that surrounds all of us. Other candles burn in solemn solidarity, excuse me, with those among us who carry burdens, sorrow, loss, or challenges. These flames speak without words, conveying a message of empathy and shared humanity. They remind us that none of us are alone in our struggles, and that within this space, we find a compassionate, supportive community. As is our practice, members and friends are invited to share their joy or sorrow one of three ways: via email sent prior to the service, in person, and via chat for those present today via Zoom. We will first read those joys and sorrows of our congregation submitted via email prior to the service. And these include first, but I will ask Reverend Chip to light one more candle for all the joys and sorrows that we hold in our hearts but remain unspoken.
From faraway places, from all across time, remembering all my old friends, singing odd phrases of old lang syne. I wish I could see them again. Some names are forgotten, some faces are blurred. There's still someone special to me. Finding a snapshot in an album has stirred the pond of my memory, sharing the years, caring for fears, watching them, watching me grow, saying goodbye, staying to cry, loving them more than I know. Today my soul beckons to reach way back when, to seek all my friends from before. It's too much, I reckon, to see them again, yet they'll be with me forevermore. From faraway places, from all across time, remembering all my old friends, singing odd phrases of old lang syne. I wish I could see them again.
Thank you, Bruce. So, how many of us know what a gain knob is? Several. How many have ever had a cellular phone battery stop charging or not hold a charge for very long? Almost all of us. How many have felt a little like that phone recently? You can't get fully charged, or you don't hold the charge as long as you used to? Some of us, most of us. So the gain knob, and I'm sure that Kevin knows this back in the corner, the gain knob is sort of like volume on the way in. It's about how much signal you put into the amplifier or device. A better example is perhaps hearing aids. If you set your hearing aids too low, you're still not going to hear much of what's going on. If you put them too high, it causes distortion from any sound at all. If you get your hearing aid set exactly right, you can hear virtually everything people say, and you can tell when they're changing their volume from whispering to shouting for emphasis. So the gain is amount of input into the system. As far as cell phone batteries go, the person at the store told me that if you leave them plugged in all the time, they lose their ability to hold a charge. If you only have, 100% down to 75% of your phone ever used, the rest of that battery might as well not be there, and eventually it just isn't there. They lose their ability to hold any more. We humans aren't exactly like that, but we do ignore and distract ourselves from our full capacity. We have, understandably, most of us, a fear of death, a fear of being alone, a fear of the world doing harmful things to us. And there's a long list of things that might happen, right? And so we deny all those things. We distract ourselves from those possibilities. We're turning down the gain on our experience of life. We also, in my experience, fear our own power. We don't like to realize how much power we do have in the world, what we can cause to happen in the world. And so again, we sort of ignore or deny the things that we might be doing, and we turn down the gain on our experience of life. This is not bad or wrong. I intend no shame from it. I just want to point out that that does make it harder for us to get the most out of life. Today, I'm going to help remind us that we do have more control over that gain knob in ourselves. And I'm going to invite us to turn that gain up a little bit, at least for this service. We'll have an opportunity to turn it back down again, so we're not going to go back into the world all wide open and vulnerable. But maybe, if you'll play along, we can turn up the gain a little bit, and then as a reward for that, we can connect explicitly with our source, with God, with the Spirit of life pulsing and evolving through us. And that will help set that idea that we can control the gain on our life. It may have been difficult 4 years ago. Life always has difficulties. And then the pandemic and the isolation, all of that is still sort of an open trauma for many of us. And so even if we had been, you have a great year and you tire yourself out a little bit, and then you have a few days around the holidays and you get caught back up, and then you have a good year, and then you get caught back up with the holidays. And then the pandemic just took us deeper, and we never got quite all the way back out. Sound like those cell phone batteries? It's entirely understandable that we would turn down the gain on all the suffering in the world. Very few people I know anymore look at their news feeds after dinner or on the way to bed because it's just too troubling and they can't sleep. So we turn down the gain, which is great, understandable, but we lose some of the joy too. I want us to be a little more comfortable with changing that knob so that we can get the joy, we can get the enthusiasm, we can get some healing, and don't always expose ourselves to all of that suffering. So we'll experiment a little with turning up our gain and connecting with our life source. And then maybe, since we've got our gain up a little more and we're going to connect with our source anyway, maybe we can connect with that and feel that life energy more fully and drink deeply of the healing strength that is there. And take that with us out to start the new year. So this is intended to be an experiment that meets the needs of anybody in the room and who is online at this moment. Do the things that make sense to you and don't do the things you don't want to do. Engage as you are comfortable. We're going to co-create some safer, brave space together so that we can hold ourselves in confidence and feel a little more comfortable with removing our defense mechanisms and turning up that gain. Our defense mechanisms are important. Most of us developed these defenses over many years of life, and they have kept us in the healthier, happier place that we are. And it does sometimes get in the way. They were really useful 20 years ago. They were really useful 40 years ago. They're not as useful perhaps now, but it's habit. I invite us maybe to take off the mask, or at least move it a little bit, make ourselves a little more vulnerable for an hour. And as we are human beings, right now we are experiencing joy and sorrow, and there's probably a little anger, and there's probably a little fear, and there may be some shame, all of these natural, normal human emotions. We're going to focus on the joy and the health end for the next little while. It is good and right to feel sorrow and grief. We heard many good reasons why we might just a few minutes ago. Let us honor those and set them down for a bit. It is absolutely important to feel rage sometimes. If you're feeling angry about something today, I invite you to recognize it, honor it, set it aside for a brief while. The same with fear. I can't think of too many reasons that are good for feeling shame, but we somehow get some shame. Honor your fear, set it aside. Notice your shame to the extent you can, set it aside. Let it not plague us for the next 20 minutes. If you do feel some of these emotions coming up, that's fine, that's human. Don't panic, feel it, let it pass through. It will go away. Took me a long time to learn a lesson, but it does eventually go away. And if it feels like too much, turn down the gain. We're going to turn it up as an experiment, but if it's icky, turn it back down. You have control. That's the point of the experiment. You have control. And then, once we have set aside the more difficult emotions, let us embrace and focus on the joyful ones. We can find in our source compassion, courage, healing, hope, joy, strength, vigor. Anybody need any of those things in their life? Right? Maybe we find that this morning and soak in a little bit. And so one of the things I want to do to help us learn to turn up our gain and to connect to our service center is to enliven our bodies. The body-mind is a remarkable tool, and it needs tuned up and turned on sometimes. So I invite us to move around the room as you feel appropriate to get your blood pumping. If you'd like to stay in one place and move your arms a little bit, you want to tap your toes, do something to get some blood moving. I can't see you out there in Zoom land, but I know you're doing it. Thank you for moving along with us. And so get up and move around and just let your body know it's alive. And if you happen to cross paths with somebody, you smile at them, give them a nod of encouragement. Get the wiggles for days, right? Yes, do some wiggles. Something to get your body alive and well.
Like running?
And then as you have as you've got your body going and you're feeling your blood again, maybe find a place that you're comfortable. Find a place where you're willing to stand or sit or lie down. And the next part of our enlivening is to do some patting of our limbs and our trunk. So just do some patting. It doesn't seem to be all that spectacular, but it really does do remarkable things to our body and get all the juices flowing. So Now that we've wakened up our whole body, mind, I invite us to sit or stand as you'd like to for the next little while. And we're going to do a little bit of a body prayer since we got things going. I invite us to open our arms wide and take in the world, and then bring that in and up. Come back, holding it into our heart and passing it out with the rest of our world. And we'll do that twice more. Arms wide, swoop it in and up, bring it into our heart, and share it with the world. And one last time. So wide, take it all in, bring it in and up, gather it into your heart, and share it with the world. And now that we have energized and shared the core of our journey, let us find our center and ground ourselves in this present moment. Many of you may be meditators. It's not difficult. We're going to breathe together. We're going to keep our brain and our mind in this moment as we skip away, which brains do. Just bring it back into this moment. Sitting or walking or lying down. Let's take a few deep breaths together. Can you see it? Just feel that life pulsing already. Hearing the sounds of others around us draws us in, reminds us that we are all together. Meditation is good for us by ourselves, but with many around us, it's so much more powerful. It draws us more deeply. Pay attention to the life force inside us. Consciously open to that experience of being alive. With each breath in, expand your presence, feel bigger, and absorb all that energy. And with each breath out, pause and rest there more surely in the core of your being. Feeling the moment thicken. Feeling the life energy of those around us, both holding and supporting us. With each breath, we are more and more fully present to this moment. We are fully and simply here, now. We know that God is also fully present here and now. The mystery, life, evolution, permeating us here, now. And let us, to the extent we can, release our grasping ego. Just be here. Just be now. Be everywhere and every when as part of the interdependent web of all life. And from this vantage point, feeling more energized, more grounded, more ultimately expanded, let us feel our connection. Let us notice life as it floods through us. If gets to be too much and it's carrying you away, just pause and expand yourself and center down. And let us repeat together, I am healing. I am healing. I am whole exactly as I am. Energy from the source flows through me. Life and healing flow through me. Continuing to breathe as deeply as is comfortable. Allow yourself to sink more deeply into this moment. Becoming aware of the healing available to you, to the joy available to all of us, to the strength and vigor that is always here in our source. Relaxing into that healing, strengthening energy, absorbing that which you need the most. Maybe you knew coming in you needed strength. Maybe you are surprised to discover that you need compassion. Whatever it is that you need, it is present here. And we breathe it in. Soak it in as deeply as you can. Let it buoy you up and cascade through you. And then let us share some of that good energy flowing through us. Direct some of the energy which is overflowing your own being toward others, blessing them with vigor and peace. Share that energy with others in the room and others you know that are online. Maybe using some gestures if that helps. Picture them in your mind. Look around the room and share it with all these wonderful humans. Share it with those particularly who were named in our candles of community. Let them feel that love. Take a deep breath and send some to your family who lives far away or your loved ones who live far away. Send some to your neighbors, the ones you like, and especially the ones you don't like. It's a good practice. Send some healing and joy to Reverend Gupton and his wife, Jenny Sanders. Keep them well. And then think of the folks who are going to be active in 2024 and bringing our world either closer to the brink or closer to peace for all humankind, and send them compassion and courage and love. Feel it flowing through you and filling them too. Taking one last deep sip to make sure that we ourselves are cared for and filled up. Just luxuriate. This is always present to us. And so let us begin to prepare to return. Take 5 last breaths in this connected space. Perhaps you notice it already a little bit deep, a little bit strong, a little bit less strong as we return to consensus reality. If earlier today you did loosen your defenses, you took your masks off to turn the gain up, if you want to put them back on, now would be a good time to at least set them a little in place. Before you get in your cars and operate one of these big motor vehicles, you might ground yourself, touch a tree, tap dance a little on the earth, give somebody a hug. Hydrate, as always. I am grateful to everyone here for accompanying me on this journey, for playing along with this experiment. Thank you, Barbara. Sharing your energy with each other is such a gift, and it's something we don't do very often because we have our gain turned all the way down. Thank you for taking a risk and being vulnerable with us this morning and sharing. If you wish, you can restore your gain back to its customary level, remembering you can turn it up as you wish. Having shared energy among ourselves, we will also share our financial resources. Ms. Rohr will tell us about that.
Thank you, Chip. That was lovely. We are blessed in so many ways. Even in times of struggle and pain, if we open our eyes and hearts, if we turn up our gain knob, we can see that we are blessed. Because we are blessed, a number of years ago, our congregation began sharing abundance that we enjoy as a community by donating each Sunday's collection taken during our weekly worship service to a nonprofit whose work is in keeping with our own values as a community. This week's collection is going to NAMBY of Southwest Ohio. NAMBY is part of the National Alliance for the Mentally Ill, which offers support to families and friends and individuals whose lives have been affected by mental illness. Working together, we advocate for better lives for those, they advocate for better lives for those who suffer so through free mental health support, online groups, resources, and education. We ask that you please be generous today in the support of the work in NAMBY of Southwest Ohio. And one more note, we're doing things a little differently this morning. As our ushers take up the collection, we will sing all 3 verses of our closing hymn, This Little Light of Mine. Words which will be projected overhead. You can also find the words as well as the music in your hymnal under the seat, number 118. Benediction as we do each week. I'm going to ask Chip to extinguish our chalice, but before he does, I invite you to take it into your heart and carry it out into the world. Form a circle.
I'll stay at the microphone, thank you.
Oh, okay, okay, that sounds good. Oh, there we got it. See, we're intelligent, bright, loving people.
May the spirit of life,
May the spirit of life
That each of us possesses flow from one to another. May it stay with us. And bring us peace and harmony. Until we meet again. Amen.
And within that circle, we held the palm.